everybody, and welcome to the Wealthy LaLa Show with myself, the Wealthy LaLa, Laurie Laursen. If you're looking for any more information on myself or to contact me for sessions and or know a little bit more about me, find my YouTube page, you can actually go to my website, which is www.LaurieLaursen, LaurieLaursen.com. So today, it's like, what do we want to talk about today? Yesterday, before I did before I did my meditation, I was actually aware that I was kind of in a weird kind of an energy where I was almost like, I don't know if you guys have ever experienced this as a person who questions a lot about the world, and myself and other people. And, it's like, what are we here for? And, the fact that I have such the proud good fortune of being a grandma, which is LaLa for me. And for those of you, if this is the first time listening, the Wealthy LaLa is myself, and LaLa is my grandma name. So I am a wealthy woman, a wealthy grandma, a wealthy LaLa, and wealthy in many ways, wealthy with awareness, wealthy with family and friends around me, wealthy with a beautiful home that I live in. I live on a farm in northern Alberta. And so that's where that comes from. Yeah. So today, what I did was I pulled a card earlier today, and just kind of wanted to know what the oracle cards had for me. And it's funny because there's like 40 something, I think, cards in this deck. I'm not sure exactly. It doesn't say on the box. But I have picked probably, 4 or 5 times from this deck. And it's funny because I keep picking a few of the same cards, which is really interesting. And this first one that I picked today, and have picked before, is Answer the Call. What is your soul calling you to do? And so these are beautiful cards done by, they're called Work Your Light Oracle Cards Guidebook. And they're by Rebecca Campbell, and artwork by Danielle Noel. And I'll put a link on the Podbean site to these cards if you guys are interested in looking at them and checking them out on Amazon. Anyways, so what is my soul calling me to do? Now, that's one thing. I don't know how many of you are grandmas that are listening, but it is not and it's an incredible role to be given. It's an incredible honor. In my world, it certainly is. Seeing these little faces that are children of my children, God, it's just such a freaking blessing. I remember when we first found out that our son and his girlfriend at the time, they're married now, were expecting, and we'd opened up this card. There's that yawning thing again. It's so funny. We opened up the card, and it said to Grandma and Grandpa, and my heart literally hurt. Like, it was so incredibly exciting that it was like my heart was just bursting with the possibilities. And the funny thing is like, how do you know what being a grandma is going to be like until you become a grandma? Yet, I don't know. Actually, that's really interesting. How do we know? How do we know it's going to be that cool? Like, how do we know without knowing? That's actually really interesting. I'd never considered that possibility, because when we opened up the card and it said coming in August 2016, and he was actually born July 31st, How did we know it was going to be such a big frickin' deal? That is really fascinating. Okay, you guys, now my curiosity is totally up. This is not where I thought I was going to go. You know, I wonder how many other things do we know without knowing that are going to just freaking light us up? And for people like myself who are into being grandparents, because it's not for everybody. Being a parent isn't for everybody. Being a grandparent isn't for everybody. But for those of us that desire to be a grandparent or that become grandparents and we're happy about it, how do you know that it's that big of a deal? I tell you, okay, I've got the universe on it now because I'm just totally fascinated with that question. Like, really, how do you know? Oh, man. Okay. I'm like, this is how my mind works, people. This is seriously how it works. You are getting LaLa Laurie, her mind in action. How do we know? If we've never been grandparents before, how do we really know? And so I wonder what our bodies and our beings are aware of what will be fun for us. And I wonder if we could ask to duplicate that and outcreate it and expand it into every area of our lives. Because we all do know for like I said, most of us, that children are really cool and they're fun. It's interesting. And the idea of being a grandparent where you don't have the responsibility. Wow. Yeah. How do you know? Like, how do we know that is so cool? I wonder if we could ask the universe to make it that loud with everything else. Like, if there's a career we desire, if there's a person that would create more for us to be with, if there's a group to join, or like a dancing group or a book club or, you know, a workshop we'd like to take, like, what would it take to have it so almost like intensely clear, but with ease, of all the different things that are going to create so much in our lives. Like, oh, that's really fascinating. Okay, well, on this answer you call, oh, I gotta find the card because I want to read it in the oracle card here. Because I like where I'm going with all of this is the fact that, I absolutely love being a grandparent. And I also know it's not everything that I be. And I don't want them to be the answer to my happiness. And, and like most kids, they go through that awesome teenage stage where they kind of don't really care much about adults. And that may or may not occur with our grandkids. But just in case, I don't want to be sitting there waiting for them to love me up when they're off hanging out with their friends and, getting first real tendrils of what it's like to live their own life. So anyways, so here's to the card. So again, the card is called Answer Your Call. Your guidance is divinely guided. You're being called to answer the call of your soul. It might be scary. It might not make sense. But if you trust your soul's yearnings, you will live a life beyond what your mind could possibly imagine. Answer your soul's calling. Answering your soul's calling is not a one-time thing, rather a lifelong dance. Deep down, you already know what you long for, what your soul yearns for. Whatever you are called to do, this is your calling. Don't overthink it. Don't wait for permission. Just say yes. Most people are waiting for a step-by-step plan before they take the first step. But intuition doesn't work like that. It takes faith and courage to answer the calls of your soul. And that's why most people don't do it. But you are not most people. You are in exactly the right place to answer your calling now. You don't need to know the whole plan. You don't even need to know where it's leading. You just need to take the next step. No one has ever had the complete perfect plan. There is no end destination. There is no right or wrong way to do it, and you do not need permission from anyone else. Sometimes the more resistance we have around answering a soul's calling, the more important it is to our soul's growth. So the inquiry with this, let's got to read that last sentence again. Sometimes the more resistance we have around answering a soul calling, the more important it is to our soul's growth. Wow, that's really interesting. Because I wonder how many of us have a really big ask in our world. Like we're really aware of a really big possibility of, creating a lot of change. Because like if you know what I mean, it's like you've got to, like if you think of a school, you've got a janitor, you've got the teachers, you've got the principal, you've got the superintendent. And every role is required, and yet that the influence, so to speak, of a superintendent can be a lot bigger than the role of someone in a support position. If you think of like Tony Robbins, who is a speaker, if you guys know of him, I mean, he has thousands and thousands of people come to his workshops, and yet he can't do it alone. But yet he is the one who's actually out there. He's the face of whatever he's speaking of. And so I just wonder how big his soul's calling is. And for some of us, if we have a soul's calling that's a little different. I was watching Ellen DeGeneres today, and it reminded me of a time when I watched her. This was, I think, last year. And I don't remember exactly how she said it, but kind of the way I heard it was like, it lights her up to do what she does. Like she feels alive, like it's a part of her purpose to be and do that. And that's what I get for myself, like with these podcasts. There's just something that goes beyond, just getting here and sitting in front of my computer and talking. That there's actually something that goes beyond that. And I guess that's where I'm almost referencing the part of being a grandma, is that for a lot of people, or most people, being a grandparent is almost like the epitome of greatness, right? And I can find a little bit in my world where I almost a little bit want to make myself wrong, because even though it is amazing, I am so grateful. I'm so, so grateful. I am so grateful as a mom, and I'm so grateful that I'm a grandma. And I also can really find where I need also to have more in my life. And so for those of us that have that, I just wonder, it's, it's funny because what I really want to just say is, how can we just not make ourselves wrong for that? Yeah. And just whoever needs to hear that, including myself at moments, just, I wonder if that's not wrong. And I wonder if we can, all of us have different, it's almost like different percentages, like some people are like 100% grandparent and some people are 10%. And me, I feel like I'm like let's say like a 70-30. And yet I'm not wholly me if I'm without that 30, whatever that 30 of soul's calling is. Just sharing interesting tidbits that I learn about life, sharing, stories that I find that have impacted me. And that even includes those cute little grandbabies of mine. And for those of you who don't know, I have two lovely little grandsons. One's 2.5 and one is 6 months old. And I have another grandbaby cooking. So, yeah. So in about 3 months, we will have another one. So how does it get any better? So just, I guess I just sort of invite you to reflect on your life. And is there something else that your soul is calling you to? that can be in addition to, that doesn't have to be an all or nothing. Yeah. Because, sometimes I've actually even made myself wrong when I don't have like a 100% business. And what if it for me is a 30%? Maybe another day it'll be 50. Maybe one day it'll be 80. Who knows? But I wonder how much we can just allow ourselves to enjoy life and just play with it. Because, when I think about my grandson is 2.5, I know he does not measure his life. He just lives it. So I wonder how much living we could do and what things our souls are calling us to live with and by and do and have fun with. And holy, time is up, people. It was so great chatting with you again. I look forward to next time. Have an amazing rest of your day.